Hi, this is Margo. This is Tuesday evening, June the 18th, 2019, 6:31 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So, going to follow up on this sulfur dioxide release that started yesterday just to the north of Papua New Guinea, and I was saying it looked like Manam, and sure enough, it is Manam. It did had explosive activity yesterday, and it still got explosive activity today. But look at, this is from yesterday, Monday the 17th. Look at it from today. Look at how it really blew up here today, and you can see the shock waves of it going all the way around. Now, Rosemary Hill sent us a link to Volcano Discovery showing the report on it. So we want to thank Rosemary for that. And they had not written it up at the time of my recording last night. So I was showing it before it ever got written up. So here it is at 500 HPA. This is about 18,000 feet up into the atmosphere. Now, I'm thinking that they're kind of under-reporting on this, because if you look at the report, here's the report. I'll show you the report. Here's the report from yesterday, the 17th, and they didn't put it up till, I don't know, late last night or early this morning. It was the volcanic emission was up to 10,000 feet or 3,000 meters. Continuous volcanic emission. Explosive activity continues. Volcanic Ash Advisory Center. The volcanic ash plume rose up to an estimated 10,000 feet. And the last report before that was June the 7th, where it rose up to 14,000 feet. And then here's the report from today, June the 18th. And it's rising to 12,000 feet. It says explosive activity continues. The volcanic ash plume rose up to an estimated 12,000 feet altitude, or flight level 120. So when you look at this, at 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere, that huge explosion, you know, I guess the sulfur dioxide could go up much higher than the ash plume. I guess that's why we're seeing it like this. But I don't know. And when you look at, let's go back. Let's go to global. Here it is, all the sulfur dioxide around the world, and this dwarfs anything else that's happening. And on Volcano Discovery, they're saying that Sabancaya is sending up a plume, that went up like 22,000 feet. It's in Peru. Or 26,000 feet. Sporadic emissions of up to 26,000 feet. Well, you would think that would show something. Then that it would show something explosive, but I don't know. We're not seeing explosions over here. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where Sabancaya is. We can look at it on Google Earth. Okay, so it's in this little, here's the volcano, here. There's the peak. So it looks like, so it's in this part as it starts curving in. So it'd be right up here. So we're not even seeing sulfur dioxide release up there. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. You have it going up to 26,000 feet, but let's look at 500 HPA. Okay, so here it is at 18,000 feet. We've got stuff down here, but Sabancaya is up here. And we've got this huge blast over here. And then here's Popocatépetl that's going off. So I think there's something more going on over here at Manam than they're saying. That's all there is to it. I just think there's something more. So we're going to leave that as a backdrop. And now let's move on with our earthquake report. I'm going to make this a fairly short show tonight. I was out today and I need to rest. And I'm hoarse from being out, so excuse my voice. My clearing my throat and all that stuff. So we've got USGS pulled up here for all magnitudes. For the last 24 hours we're showing 265 earthquakes. Of those, 44 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So that's a high number of the larger earthquakes. So we're going to start with this 3.9 down here in Presidio, Texas. This came in last night, right after I finished my report. This came in last night at 6:48 p.m. and it's in the Big Bend area of Texas, right here on the Texas-Mexico border. 3.9 is very, very large for this area. So that's kind of there are hills and mountains down in that area, in the Big Bend area, but that's getting up there. Let's see what else is about to come off the map. Mexico. So let's come on down here, and so let's start on this side. And there was a 4.2 in the ocean near Santiago Pinotepa Nacional, Mexico, that happened at 11:24 last night. Then further down, there were two here off the coast of Costa Rica of 4.9 at 9:12 this morning, and then a 4.8 at 9:26 this morning. They were both near Sardinal, Costa Rica. And all of these times I'm telling you are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. Then down here in South America, we see 4.6 near San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina, at 8 o'clock last night, 233 kilometers deep. Then down here, 4.7 southeast of Easter Island at 3:04 this morning, right on that red line in the South Pacific. Then coming on across to this L'Esperance rock region, we're still seeing earthquakes. This is where they had that 7.2 a couple of days ago, and so it's still rocking. This whole South Pacific area is still very busy. So I'll just call them off. Here's a 5.1 at 9:23 last night. Here's a 5.5 south of Fiji Islands at 10:14 last night. This was 598 kilometers deep. Very deep. 4.9 back over near L'Esperance Rock at 12:20 this morning. 5.9 at 9:05 this morning. 5.4 10:21 a.m. 5.2 11:12 a.m. 5.3 1:27 p.m. 5.0 4:04 p.m. 5.2 4:24 p.m. and a 5.2 at 4:59 p.m. So all of these, there are 10 in this viewing area. So take these two off, and so 8 are in this L'Esperance rock area. And they're big. I mean, these are in the 5s. So that's still going on. Next, coming around. So this is where they had that explosion. Manam is right there. Right there. The island is the volcano. You can't see it if you go too close. Anyway, it's right there. Little tiny place to just send up a huge blast. So, I don't know. Then there was a 4.9 near Samlaka, Indonesia at 7:27 last night. Here's a 4.8 near Sambalia, Indonesia at 1:42 this morning. This is off the coast of Lombok. There's some volcanoes here. Big volcano here at Lombok. Next, coming up here to Japan, they've had some activity today. Here's a 4.1 off the coast of Oyama, Japan at 11:41 last night, 300 kilometers deep. Then we've got 2 up here, just off the coast, off the west coast of the mainland. There was a 6.4 this morning at 6:22 this morning, 12 kilometers deep. So that's very shallow. I checked the little wave this morning. It said no tsunami warning, but they're calling it near Suruoka, Japan. So let's check it and see if they gave any updates. Oh, here's one for Puerto Rico. Let's look at that one. No tsunami threat. So these are from this morning off the west coast, near the west coast of Honshu, Japan. And then there was a 4.5 right after that at 8:57 this morning. Or not right after, but shortly, a couple of hours later. 3 hours, 2 hours. So the reporting station is Murakami. So more than likely there was not any damage on that. Being in the ocean, it buffers a lot. Although it could cause a landslide, so you never know. We'll keep an eye on that. Here's a 4.6 near Nikolskoye, Russia at 11:21 this morning, just off the coast of Kamchatka. And then over here, a 4.2 near Ashkasham, Afghanistan at 4 o'clock this afternoon, 186 kilometers deep. And then another one down here near Mayotte, this little island here, 4.5 near Pamanzi, Mayotte at 9:57 this morning. In the ocean again. So that's all of the international earthquakes. Now we're going to all magnitudes and zoom in and take a peek at Hawaii. We've got 6 here today. 2.2 Pahala, 1.7 Kilauea, 2.1 Kilauea, 1.8 Pahala, 2.1 Kilauea, and a 2.7 Pahala. So that's still showing movement there at those two sites. And now in the Caribbean, we've got 16 here today. Let's see what's 2.5 magnitude or higher. We've got a cluster going on just north of, or in between, the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, this clustering here. So we've got 10 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So here's a 3.1 and a 3.0 over to the east. Here's a 3.1. Here's a 3.5. That's the highest one. So twos, couple of twos, but the rest of them are in the threes range. So that's a higher number of larger earthquakes. And total number, all magnitudes, is 16. So we had 6 that were under 2.5. But they were in the 2s range, 2.2s. So there's that. Now let's hop on up to Alaska, see what's going on up there. So in the Alaska region, we've got 73 here today. Of those, we have 2 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. There's a 2.6 near Nikiski and a 3.0 near Koktovik. So, but we've got some small ones. And remember, small ones count. Now down here on these Aleutian Islands, we've got some, here's a small one, 1.6 at Tanaga Volcano. Here's a cluster. Here's 5 here at Dutch Harbor. 1.4 is the highest on those. Here's a 2.3 Chignik Lake. And we've got them popping up in the Cook Inlet again. And here's one at Redoubt, a 1.7. Here's one that just came in, a 1.6 at Old Iliamna. And so forth. Here's the Anchorage region. It looks pretty quiet today. So we can see they're just moving up through the state. This is typical of a day, earthquake day in Alaska. And then in the north, we've got 5 here today in the Koktovik area. That 3.0 was the largest. And then at Kobuk, we've got 12 here today. And it looks like this 2.3 is the largest on Kobuk. So there's that. We've got some in the armpit there. And now, coming down to the lower 48, we're showing 144 earthquakes. So you can just see by looking at the map, if there's 144, then they've got to be all down here on this west coast of California, and we're seeing them down on along these mountains here primarily. So let's start over here in Tennessee. Here's a 1.6 near Madisonville. And then in Oklahoma, we've got 10 here today. 1.5 Wycomas, 1.7 Wycomas, 0.8 Stroud, 2.2 Perry, 0.6 Pawnee, 1.7 Medford, 0.8 Tuttle, 2.2 Stroud, 0.7 Pawnee, and a 1.3 Tuttle. So they were more spread out kind of today. So lots of activity going on there. Here in Utah, we've got 1.6 near East Carbon City. And then in the Yellowstone region, we've got 9 here today. And we've got a quarry blast of 1.7 magnitude from a quarry blast near Montana City, Montana, that came in at 10:14 this morning. And here's a 1.6 at Lincoln. And then we've got this cluster here, 7 at Manhattan. I'll call these off. A 3.0, 3.3, those are good size, 1.6, 2.5, 0.8, 1.4, and 1.7. So now let's move on into the Pacific Northwest. Oregon is clear. We're seeing 2 near, where's that? Mount Rainier. We've got a 1.2 at Packwood and a 0.8 at Eatonville. And that 1.2, it looks like is in the crater of Mount Rainier, big volcano. And we've got a blast, a 1.9 explosion at Waterville. Now, but above that, in Canada, was a 2.5 magnitude explosion. That's huge to cause a 2.5 earthquake. That's a huge explosion at Princeton, Canada at 2:26 this afternoon. That's humongous. And on our tremor map from yesterday, we're only showing 7 tremors, and they're up here in this northwest Washington area, right up here. Now coming on into Northern California and Nevada, we see 0.7 near Mineral, and that's just northwest of Lake Almanor. There's Lake Almanor, here's Lake Shasta, here's Lake Oroville. And then here's a 0.2 near Truckee, here's a minus 0.1. This is in the Mount Rose area, and a 0.7 at Cold Springs. Here's one in the lake at Pyramid Lake, a 0.6. I forgot to show the Oroville levels. We'll show those before we end tonight. Here as we come down the side of Nevada, we've got 7 here in Hawthorne and Smith Valley and Warm Springs. They're pretty small. One's in Under. And then in southern Nevada, we've got 11 listed, mainly Beatty and Pahrump. And here's a 0 magnitude at Alamo and 0 depth. There's the Warm Springs. Now, let's come on up. Let's look at this east side of California next. Here's Mammoth Lakes area. We're showing 7 here today, and the largest one is this 1.2. This is the Mammoth Lakes area and the Long Valley caldera. Now at Coso Junction area, we've got 7 on the map today. We've got a couple of 0.4, 0.7 at Searles Valley. And here's a 0.9 at Fort Irwin. So these are small. These are all under 1. Let's check these out. 1.4 Bodfish, 1.5 Bodfish, 1.4 Arvin, 0.9 Mojave. Here's a 1.2 Ludlow. There was one there yesterday too. Okay, we're not seeing anything across the border at Baja. Just one like on the border there. So as we come into Southern California, we're seeing 36 on the map today. So that's a downtick for the number of earthquakes. That's lower than we normally see here. And none of them are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So these are all under that. So most of them are like mid ones or under. Here's a 2.2 at Glen Avon. We've been watching that area. So they're just peppered around. But let's look at Glen Avon. It's only showing 3 here today. Here's a 1.3 Pacoima. And 1.6 at Vincent. Alright, so did we see all of these? Arvin. Yeah, we saw all of those. Okay, now we're going to come up this San Andreas fault line. Oh my gosh, look at this. Talk about an uptick. Oh my gosh. There's 17 right here on the map. Here's a 1.0 at Kolami. A 0.3 Parkfield. We'll come back to this cluster. Here's a 1.9 New Idria. 1.1 Pinnacles, 1.3 Tres Pinos, 2.6 Ridgemark, that's getting up there, 1.1 Gilroy, 1.1 Gilroy, 1.1 Alum Rock, here's a 2.5 Pinnacles, and then we've got 3.3, 1.7, 0.6, and a 2.0 right here at the Pinnacles. So let's just look at the larger ones. So those were the ones that were 2.5 and higher. And so we had a 2.6, a 2.5, and a 3.3. Normally we don't see them this high down here. Normally they're like 2s and under. So that's definitely showing movement. And then a 1.1 near Crockett. Here's a 1.7 near Kenwood. And at the geysers, we've got 22 here today. And these are all under 2.5 magnitude. Here's a 2.1. That's new. And most of them are under 1s or like mid to low 1s. But that's an average. The 22 is about average what we see for the number here today. Alright, so we'll zoom out and see if there's anything else we need to look at before we wrap it up. Did I show this 2.7? 2.7 at Pahala at 622. I think I showed that. I don't remember. So, we got a new one at Turkey. This came in while we were talking. Here's a 4.2 on land at Turkey near Elik at 5:45 this afternoon. They like to sneak them in, put them on the map after I've already been there. Oh yeah, we got to look at Lake Oroville levels. Still going up. As of 7 o'clock, it was 895.2 feet. And 902 is the top of the emergency spillway. So just over 6 feet. And the lake level went up 0.25 feet yesterday, so a quarter of a foot would be 3 inches. And today, 895.20. Since midnight, 895.08. It's gone up 0.12 feet. So it's slowing down. But we can see that the inflows are still more than the outflows. The outflows are holding, it looks like, just under 5,000 CFS. And the inflows have been, the highest one was this one at 3 o'clock was 7,065. And then it dropped down to around 3,800 late morning. But it was around 6,000, between 6,000 and 6,600 on these others. And for whatever reason, they haven't come in with these numbers on those 2 times. So the last inflow reading that we have was at 6 o'clock was 5940. And the outflow was 4961. So I'll go ahead and sign off for now. Make sure I got everything I needed to show you. So yeah, I don't think we have much more time left, especially with, it seems like, runaway global heating, global temperature rise is what we've got going on now. So, and I guess everyone saw the story about how much everything is melting in Greenland, and the scientists went to check on his instruments, and they were supposed to be sitting on the ice, and they were in water, and his dog sled, the dogs were running out through the water. There was ice underneath, but there was a pool of water on top of the ice where it had melted on top. So that story's going viral right now, and they're saying, the climate scientists are saying, oh, it's 70 years faster. This kind of heating and melting and stuff is happening 70 years faster than we expected. We didn't expect this till the end of the century. 70 years faster. We don't know what to do. All you have to do is look at the data. It's not rocket science. Seriously. All you have to do is look at methane and carbon dioxide and all the other greenhouse gases and NASA Worldview and a couple of other websites, and you can figure it out. The time is very short. Very short. So, I recommend everyone get your spiritual house in order, because no one knows the day or the hour. So until next time, God bless everyone, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.